Well, hello, beautiful people. This is Jessica Jones with Rebel Women Wealth coming in for our hot topic, hot beneficiary talk. Let's talk about beneficiaries some more, shall we? Let's talk about your retirement accounts and who to put on as a beneficiary for those. So for your retirement accounts, those are going to be, for our purposes, what we're talking about is your before tax money. So this is going to be your 401ks, your 457s, your 403bs, your IRAs, your SEP IRAs, all of these sort of before tax money, meaning you haven't paid taxes on those accounts yet. All right, until you start pulling out from them. So I would highly recommend, now typically they're going to require you to put a beneficiary on there because Uncle Sam wants to know who to go collect the tax money from if something happens to you, okay? So they're going to make you put a beneficiary on there typically when you set up the account. But you need to review those and make sure they're still up to date and they're the right person. But also, I would highly recommend putting an actual person as a beneficiary on these accounts as opposed to a trust, okay? Let me tell you why. Now, first of all, this is not legal advice or tax advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA or a tax advisor. However, a lot of attorneys will, when you set up the trust, they want you to put everything in the trust, which in theory is good, right? We want to make sure everything has beneficiaries on it, okay? However, I highly recommend putting an actual person on your retirement accounts as a beneficiary because that gives them a lot more flexibility and access to how they can access your account. So for a spousal beneficiary, if you put your spouse as a beneficiary on your IRA account or your 401k account, then when you pass away, they can take that over as their own IRA, okay? So it doesn't have to be an inherited IRA. They can just take it over as their own, all right? So that means that they can distribute it according to their RMD table, and it gives them, over their lifetime, okay? They don't have a time limit that they have to, take it out within. Now, if it's a non-spousal beneficiary, like a kid or a niece or anybody else besides a spouse, they will have to take it as an inherited IRA, but that will give them 10 years to deplete the account. So it gives you a lot more time as opposed to it having to be paid out all at once. So non-spousal beneficiaries can take it over as an inherited IRA. They will have to deplete that account within 10 years, but at least they have 10 years to do it. If you put the trust as a beneficiary, then the trust is going to have to either distribute it immediately, so that'll be all taxable in that year, all right? Or the trust you can do an inherited IRA in the trust's name, so the trust inherits the IRA, okay? But that only gives you 5 years. So you don't have to distribute it all at once, but it only gives you 5 years for the trust to distribute everything. And in that time, you're gonna have to keep that trust open. You're gonna have to keep filing taxes for that trust over those 5 years or longer. So there's a lot more moving parts to it. Whereas if you just put an actual beneficiary on there, then A, they either take it over as their own, as the spouse, or B, they inherit it as an IRA, and then they have 10 years to pull it all out of that account and pay the taxes on it, okay? Just gives a lot more flexibility in how it can be paid out. I've been going through a lot these past 4 or 5 years on inheritances and how the inherited IRAs work and things being paid out to the trust, and then they get tied up in that and all the payout and this sort of thing. I've had a lot of executors and trustees have big problems having access to some of these accounts, some of this money to help pay for final expenses, final bills, this sort of thing. Please look into this. Make sure that you have the right beneficiaries on your accounts. And again, I highly recommend any retirement accounts have an actual person on them as the beneficiary so that they have a lot more flexibility in how the accounts are paid out. All right? If you need any help with this, reach out. You got this, babes. All right. Have a great day. Bye.